You're listening to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad, previously known as the Travel Hacking Mom Show. Follow the links in the show notes to stay up to date with what the Travel Mom Squad has been up to. If you have your heart set on a Hawaiian vacation but can't justify spending that much money, then listen up. This episode is for you. Today we're going to be sharing how you can visit Hawaii for nearly free thanks to credit card points and miles. Welcome to the Travel Hacking Mom Show. We are three moms who've discovered how to leverage credit card welcome offers to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in travel expenses for nearly free. We've used credit card points and miles to take vacations to places like Hawaii, Paris, Greece, the Maldives, Italy, and so much more. And the best part? We each still have an 800 plus credit score. Imagine being able to book a vacation without having to check your bank account. It's totally possible, and we're here to show you how. Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Pam, Alex's mom.
And I'm Jess. We are Travel Hacking Moms. In today's episode, we are going to talk about how you can visit Hawaii for nearly free using credit card points and miles.
I am super excited about this episode because I love Hawaii. I can't get enough of it. My family, or me and my husband, I should say, have been to Hawaii every year since we started travel hacking. It was our first place we've travel hacked. And we already went this year for 2022. We went back in early September. And I just remember being there and being like, okay, yeah, I can't get sick of this place. Like, there's just something magical about Hawaii. And so we're super excited to share with you guys how you can visit Hawaii on points. And the great thing about Hawaii is there are so many hotel options. There are so many flight options that it makes it a location that you can travel hack again and again. So first of all, we're going to get into the hotel options there. Jess, why don't you take it away?
All right. So first up is hotels. You have quite a few options for the different hotel brands that you can stay at in Hawaii. First, there is Hyatt, of course, my favorite. And then there's Marriott, Hilton, or you can even stay at an Airbnb or a Vacasa vacation rental. So first up, Hyatt. How do you even get Hyatt points to stay at one of these awesome resorts in Hawaii? We recommend transferring from Chase Ultimate Rewards to Hyatt or opening one of the Hyatt co-branded cards. There's a Hyatt personal card and a Hyatt business card. So I would argue that Hyatt is probably one of the easier hotel chains to get points for because you have so many options for transferring points either from Chase to Hyatt or racking up Hyatt points through those co-branded credit cards. Pam, tell us how you go about getting points for Marriott or Hilton.
You know, usually we aren't huge. We love transferable currency cards more than the co-branded. But in this instance, if you really want to stay in a Marriott, or you really want to stay in a Hilton, that's what we suggest, that you get a Marriott co-branded card or a Hilton co-branded card. That's probably the best thing to do. And I just got back from Hawaii and I used points from a Marriott card to stay at one of the hotels. And then I used points from a Hilton card to stay at the other. So it works great.
So the other option that you have, if you want to stay in an Airbnb or a vacation rental, this is a great option for families, you know, where you can have a kitchen and those more room for your family. If you want to do an Airbnb, we highly recommend a Venture or a Venture X card. These are very simple and straightforward to use these points for Airbnb or VRBO purchases. All you would need to do is take your Venture or your Venture X card and pay for your stay, pay for your Airbnb on your Venture card. And then you will log into your Venture account and apply your points for a statement credit. So basically, it just erases that purchase. So in this example, each point, or when you use your points this way, each point is worth 1 cent. So if you have 75,000 Venture miles, you can get $750 off of an Airbnb or a VRBO. So this is a great option for families or people who just kind of prefer that Airbnb type scene. Another similar idea to an Airbnb is a Vacasa vacation rental. Vacasas can be booked through Wyndham, and you can book Wyndham with your City Premier or your Venture card. You would transfer your points to Wyndham, and then you would call Vacasa to book your stay. The thing that's really cool about Vacasa is their room or their stays start at 15,000 points a night, and that's for a 1-bedroom. But the really cool thing is a lot of these 1-bedrooms actually can have a loft where they can sleep up to 6 to 8 people, I've even seen. So that can be a really good way to get more space for a family for just 15,000 points a night. So that's a really good option for people too. So now let's each share our favorite hotel or our favorite stay in Hawaii with points.
Okay, I'm going to start because I got back from there a week ago. I'm still suffering from a little jet lag from there. But I did stay at one of my very favorite hotels. I'm actually going to tell you on that trip, I stayed at 2 hotels. I'm going to tell you about both of them. The first hotel that I stayed at is the Wailea Beach Resort, and that is a Marriott hotel. And I've stayed there before, and it honestly is one of my very favorite hotels. It is just a beautiful hotel. Great pools. It's right on the beach. There's great walking paths all around the hotel that you can go past many other hotels. It is just such a great stay. And that's how I would use a 50K annual night certificate all the time. Unfortunately, Marriott got rid of their award chart and everything has gone up. And so just before they got rid of their award chart, I booked this stay on points so that I only paid, I think it was 55K a night. And when I went there, I thought, oh, this is my last stay there. I was just so sad because I'm not really willing to pay 80K a night to stay there when I can stay at comparable Hyatt hotels for 25 or 30K. So I was really sad. But then they just announced, Marriott, that some of their luxury cards, like the Bonvoy Brilliant, the annual night certificate is going to be 85K. And I have the Old Ritz card, and that also is going to come with an annual night certificate of 85K. So between my husband and I, we'll have 485K certificates. And guess what? That means I could go back to the Wailea Beach Resort every year.
I think we need to have a travel hacking mom retreat there.
Yeah.
I know. I love it.
Jess
so
has
much.
never stayed there, right?
No, I've never stayed there. So bring
go.
me.
Yes, I love it. And I am so excited now that I can continue to go there every year and spend 4 nights there. And that is what I will use those certificates for all the time. My other stay was somewhere that I wanted to go. I've always wanted to go, and it's a great family stay. I wouldn't say that it's a completely luxury stay, but when I got through in Maui, I was there with my sister, and I went over to Kona and met a friend there. Nothing like spending 2 weeks in Hawaii in one vacation. It's kind of nice though, because you save on your points and miles for flying over there. So that was my main thought about that. But I remember the first time that I went to the Big Island, we were staying at a timeshare and we went over to the Hilton Waikoloa Village. And I thought this was the coolest hotel I had ever seen. This is probably 4, 5, 6 years ago. But they had, dolphins there. They had a lagoon where you can paddleboard and rent boats, and massive grounds, beautiful pools. They have a tram that runs you from place to place because it's just so massive. And I've always wanted to stay there. And so we made that happen. This year, my friend and I actually used her points for a change.
And this is your same friend that went to Thailand, right?
Yes, it is. And I finally got her convinced to do travel hacking because we've always used my points. And I thought, why are we doing this? So I held her hand and taught her all about it. So now I make sure she gets the right card so that we can do some vacationing on her points. And so we used 70,000 points for 2 nights there. And what was really nice is because I have gold status because of some other credit cards that I have with them, they upgraded us. I called and asked them if they would let us use the gold status, even though she doesn't have it. And they were very accommodating and said yes. So we were upgraded to a better room. We got $18 a day in food credit per person, and it is really a great place for a family to go. I wouldn't say that the rooms were as fancy as at the Wailea Beach Resort, but the grounds are amazing. They have water slides for the kids. So does the Wailea Beach Resort, so it is also nice for kids. and they had a lazy river, and it ended up being a really good stay. So I highly recommend it. So Jess, tell us about your favorite Hawaii hotel.
So I've technically only stayed at one, and that was the Kaloa Landing Resort in Kauai. It is a Marriott property. It was amazing. Like the pool, I think that their pool is rated like the #1 pool in the United States. Like the pool itself was amazing. We actually saw, so Viola Davis, the actress, was staying there at the same time as us.
Ooh, it is fancy.
And my husband was like, wait, what? We are staying at the same resort as Viola Davis for free? And I'm like, yes, this is our life. And this was in 2016 or 2017. And so it was like kind of towards the start of my travel hacking journey. And he was like, this is nuts. Like we are staying with like an A-list celebrity, at the same resort. But we went to dinner. We went and had like drinks and dinner at the Grand Hyatt Kauai. It's pretty close to Kaloa Landing. And we all fell in love with it. And we were like, next time we come to Hawaii, we're 100% staying here. Like the grounds are just amazing. Even though I've only stayed at Kaloa Landing, I'm going to say Grand Hyatt Kauai is my favorite. And I will be staying there in February, so then I will for sure be able to say that it's my favorite.
Fun fact, all three of us are going to the Grand Hyatt Kauai this year. I haven't been there yet. So I haven't even stepped foot on it, so I'm really excited now.
All right, Alex, what is your favorite hotel in Hawaii? You have probably been, no, maybe Pam's been the most out of all of us. I don't know, but you're definitely second because I've only been.
Well, my mom already shared one of my favorites. It's the Wailea Beach Resort, and my husband and I have been there 3 times. And my mom explained it great already. It's just like so tranquil there. It's quieter. It's like the view from the adults only pool is just amazing. I could sit there and watch the sunset every night. It's just such a relaxing property. And I feel like some of the other areas in Maui, like up near Lahaina and Kaanapali, is just really busy. And it's so much fun up there. But if I prefer going to Wailea, if I'm going with my husband and we're looking for a more relaxing stay, if we were going with the kids, and I would say, let's go to Kaanapali. There's more to do up there probably.
Alex, when I was at the Wailea Beach Resort, the word that I kept coming to mind was restorative. It was just the most restorative Zen feeling. And I agree, that main adult pool is breathtaking.
Yeah, it really is. So I would say, like, if I'm just going with my husband, that is our favorite resort. It's also hard because, like, we love Grand Hyatt Kauai, but because it was our first place that we travel hacked, it'll always, like, have a special place in my heart. But it's been so long since we've been there. So we're actually going back this year. Or next year, so we'll see if I still, like, I'm not sure what I'll like more, if I'll like Grand Hyatt Kauai or Wailea Beach Resort, but Wailea Beach Resort is just a little higher for me right now, only because I've been there so many times that it like kind of feels like, oh, I'm going back home. But as far as kids, so we've only taken our kids once. We will be taking them again this spring. But my favorite place, we took them in 2021 to Maui, and we stayed at the Hyatt Residence Club, and it was amazing. It was one of those times where the whole idea of travel hacking comes back, where you're like, I can't believe I did this. Like, I can't believe we're here. So we booked a 2-bedroom condo, amazing ocean views, 2 bathrooms. It's a kitchen, so it's a timeshare property. But you can book it through World of Hyatt. I will say that it is trickier to find nights available here because it's a timeshare property. So it's like when the timeshare owners aren't booking all the nights, then they'll release them for people to book with points. And so it can be a challenge to find nights, but if you try to look out a little closer to your dates, then they sometimes will start opening up. So we've had people that read our blog have come and said they've stayed there. So it's totally possible. It just takes a little more work to find availability, but it is so worth it. We actually invited my parents to come with us because we had enough room. So my husband and I stayed in the king room. We had our own ensuite bathroom. And then my 2 older boys slept in the living room on the pull-out sofa bed. My parents slept in the second bedroom, and in that bedroom, there's like a miniature little pull-out couch. And was he 5 at the time? Must have been, yeah, he was 5. My 5-year-old slept in there with them. My parents had their own bathroom. It was amazing. The beach, you walk out and the beach is right there. We would go snorkeling out there and see turtles. And then it's right next to the Hyatt Regency. And guests at either property can use the pools at both. And so my kids loved going to the Hyatt Regency and going down the giant water slide and playing at the kids' pool there. But that pool was busier, so it was also nice to come back to the pool at the Residence Club and like not have to fight people for chairs quite as much. So it was just amazing. And then there's an Ulani's Shave Ice right down the street, like on the beach path. And then you go the other direction and you can walk to Whalers Village and go shopping and get food. It is like the perfect place to go with a family. And so if you can't book the Hyatt Residence Club, I would recommend the Hyatt Regency right next door. It's not the condos, it's just like normal hotel rooms. But like it's such a great place to go with kids because the beach is so nice, is nice right there. And for myself, I feel like when we go in the cars, that's when the kids start fighting. So less times of getting in the car and driving somewhere, we enjoy our vacation much more.
Yeah.
And so not having to get in the car and go to the beach was so nice. So it was amazing. We loved it. And I would go back and stay there hands down. Like, I don't ever see myself buying a timeshare because I feel like they are expensive and we have points, so I don't need one. But if I was ever going to and there was a really good deal, that would be the timeshare that I would want because it was just the location, the views. It was just really great. We loved it.
I think that area, Kaanapali, is really a fun area for people to stay with children. And it's just or even if you just like a more active nightlife or, like crowds more. I did stay one other place that I just would like to say real quickly is I stayed at the Sheraton that's on Kaanapali on Points and Miles with my sister after we did the Wailea Beach Resort. That is an excellent place for people with children too. It's right by Black Rock, which is really good snorkeling. And they also had a lazy river. It was very affordable. I think I might have used a 35K certificate to stay there. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that I did. It was really a really nice family resort.
Wait, so just now when you went?
Yes,
I think you used 50 because that one went up in price a bunch too.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
you can find nights there for around 50K still. So
that's good. So that is a really good option for families if you have those 50K certificates. And you're right.
From Marriott, yeah.
Because I did say that when I was there, I go, oh, this is a great use of the 50K certificates that people recently got. So that is another great location. Lots of good hotels on Hawaii.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about how to get to Hawaii. My personal favorite way and the way that we have gone ever since Southwest started flying to Hawaii is on Southwest. So this isn't going to be the best option for everybody. It just depends what the Southwest flights are like for you. But for me, I fly out of Salt Lake City, and we usually go from Salt Lake to Oakland and then to whatever island we're going to. It's usually been Maui recently. So that's been a great option for us. The thing that I love about flying Southwest is we don't have to pay for our bags, which that can add up a lot, especially when you're traveling with a family. We usually try to always check on, or carry on. But when you're going to Hawaii, it can be a little tricky. Or when you're traveling with 6 people, it can be a little tricky to everybody carry on. And so it's so nice to be able to check our bags and not have to worry about paying for those. The other thing that's really nice about flying Southwest Hawaii is they have really reasonable rates usually. When my husband and I just went, I believe it was 22,000 points a person round trip. And then we had the Southwest Companion Pass. So I actually just paid for my flight using my points and then booked him as my companion. So his flight, I only had to pay the $11.20 round trip. So that is really great though when we go as a family having the companion pass, because currently both my husband and I have it. And so we can fly, each of us can bring one of our kids for free. So we can book so how many of us, I'm like trying to figure out how many of us that is because my youngest just turned 2. So now we have to start buying his flights, which kind of stinks, but it's also kind of nice. Like, okay, now you have a seat and we don't have to wrestle you as much for 5 hours. So instead of having to buy 6 flights with our points, we only have to pay for 4 flights with points. So having the Southwest Companion Pass is like such a game changer for families. So we highly recommend doing that. It's like saved us time and time again. So that's my favorite way to fly to Hawaii. I even think, you'd have to look into it for yourself, but if there's not good flights from your home airport, you could even consider flying from wherever you're located to Las Vegas or Oakland or San Diego, staying the night, and then flying out on Southwest the next day. It can sometimes still be less points than flying through a different airline. So that's my favorite way to fly to Hawaii.
I would say for me, probably 98% of the time I've flown United. And part of that is because I live near Denver, and that is a United hub. So I usually do that. I usually spend about 45,000 United miles to get their round trip. That's in economy. I also have flown on Alaska using a companion pass so that we can take grandchildren. Once a year, we take grandchildren with us to go to Hawaii. But
one thing I want to say real quick though, Mom, about the Alaska companion fare is unlike the Southwest companion pass where you can book with points and then add your companion for free. With Alaska, you have to book the main person's flight with cash. Yes. And then add your companion. So you can't use it with points.
Exactly. And you can only do it once a year too.
Yeah. Southwest, you can do it as many times as you want.
Exactly. So it's an okay companion pass. It's an okay card. It's worked out for us. I would say that it's the best card out there. But the best deal to Hawaii, I did on my last flights. And that is, it's almost unbelievable. It's like the best travel hack that there possibly is. And that's booking through Turkish Airlines. And you can fly to Hawaii for 7.5 thousand miles each way. But I fly on the same flight that I would fly if I was booking my United flight. I'm still on a United, carrier. It's not the easiest redemption. There are a lot of hoops you have to go through with it. I won't even begin to go through them here, but just know that I was able to book my sister and I both round trip tickets for 30,000 total points by doing this little trick through Turkish Airlines because it is a part of the Star Alliance. And we will put a link in the show notes of how you can do this. Again, it's not for the faint of heart. But I've been able to do it twice, but I tried to do it. I've been trying to do it for our trip that's coming up in April, and I haven't been successful.
And that could be too, because it's like spring break and busier time.
Right.
So it's not always going to work. You're not always going to find the dates, but I would say it's always worth looking into because that's just such a great price.
And we've had readers who have followed our plan and it's worked for them. So it is something that if you really want to save some points and miles, and especially what transfers to Turkish Airlines are your Capital One cards and your City Premier cards.
Okay, Jess, let's hear about a way that you've booked flights to Hawaii
One of my favorite ways.
Yeah.
So mine is actually through British Airways, and no, British Airways does not actually fly their planes to Hawaii, but they are in the same alliance as American Airlines, and you can book. British Airways has a distance-based award chart. So from the West Coast to Hawaii, I think it's only 13,000 British Airways miles each way. And we fly from Houston. We actually prefer to stop overnight on the West Coast both ways because otherwise the time change is just brutal, especially coming home. Like the flights coming home from Hawaii to Houston leave Hawaii at night. It's basically a red eye. They leave Hawaii at night and then they land in Houston early in the morning. And I can't sleep on an economy, and there are not a ton of like lay flat options from Hawaii. And so I actually prefer to just stop on the West Coast, sleep in a hotel near the airport, and then that eases our transition back to our time zone.
So do they
So-
not have the red-eye flights then? So then you don't have to do the red-eye flight to California?
Right. So we fly to California and then we spend the night there. And then the next morning we just fly from California to Hawaii, and we book that portion of the flight on like from the West Coast to Hawaii on American Airlines metal, but using British Airways points. And the other nice thing is that a lot of banks often have transfer bonuses to British Airways. And so for our upcoming trip in February, it was 13,000 miles each way, but there was like a 40% transfer bonus. And so it was less than 9,000. It was like 8,600 or something miles each way. Which
Jess,
is,
that's crazy. And what I like about that, it's a lot easier to book than doing
it
the
was
Turkish.
so much easier. I have done the Turkish booking
Right.
successfully, but this was much easier because you can just book it on British Airways website. You don't have to call or email anyone.
I
So-
love that. I'm going to look at that for April because I know that you can do it easily out of Phoenix too, because that's an American Airlines hubs. I could go see my sister first and then go do it. So
And then
that
you don't
is
have to worry about the red-eye. Because
Yes,
the red-eye is terrible, and that is one reason too why I always do Southwest, because the Southwest flights leave early in the morning. And like I know some people are like, oh, but then you get a whole extra day in Hawaii, and I'm like, that extra day is a waste to me because you have to check out your hotel.
Exactly.
So then you're like, okay, what do we do all day? And I want to shower before I go to the airport, and yeah, I don't sleep in economy either. And so it's like I've had worse jet lag coming home from Hawaii in the past than coming home from Europe.
That's
Yeah.
how I've been this last trip. I'm barely getting over it. And so my goal is to avoid red ice from Hawaii at all costs.
Yep, I agree. Otherwise, I literally would dread like the last few days of the trip. I'm like, oh no, I have that flight coming up. I'd like start dreading it. So I love flying Southwest and not having to have a red eye, especially with
Right.
kids. That sounds terrible with kids.
I think that's a great hack for us to tell everybody, avoid the red ice.
Yeah, unless you're one of those people who loves them. Because I know there's some of them out there, they're like, oh, I love red eyes. I just go to sleep and wake up and I'm home. And I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, I agree.
So now that we've kind of shared with you some ways that you can use points for hotels and points for your flights, let's go in and each of us are going to quickly share a trip that we've done or the trip that we've booked using points to visit Hawaii. So you can kind of get a feel of some of the different ways you can do a trip like this. So Jess, why don't you tell us about your trip that you have booked for February?
Yeah, sure. So it is actually a 3 generations trip. It's me, my mom, and my daughter. So it's just the 3 of us going, girls trip. It'll be right around my birthday and my mom's birthday. And so I figured perfect timing. Like I said, we're doing the Turkish Airlines trick going there. We are flying from Houston to San Francisco and then San Francisco to Kauai. Coming home, we are doing the British Airways trick. So we're flying from Kauai to LA, staying the night in LA, and then flying LA to Houston. And we are staying at the Grand Hyatt Kauai. And I am super excited. It was 25,000 Hyatt points a night, and we're staying 5 nights. So 125,000 points total. And the rooms, the cash rate, I think was like $800 or $900 a night just for the standard room. So I have globalist status, hoping for an upgrade. But regardless, there is an amazing club lounge at the Grand Hyatt Kauai that we will get access to. And apparently it's open all day and they have very heavy appetizers at night. And so the food in Hawaii is very expensive. And so the more that you can get for free, the better. So we will have breakfast covered in the lounge. And then I'm hoping that we will have like snacks and dinner possibly covered in the lounge also some days. So we'll see. But I am really looking forward to it.
That sounds super exciting. I'm excited for you guys, especially since you haven't actually stayed there. So I'm excited.
No,
for you
I'm
to go there.
excited to stay there and get the full experience.
Yeah. So I already shared our trip that we did to Hyatt Residence Club. So I'm not going to go into that one, although it was one of our very favorites. I'm actually going to Grand Hyatt Kauai this year as well. My parents are coming with us again. We're taking my kids for spring break. And we are actually, I don't know if this is a crazy idea or not, but we are going to island hop with the kids. So the plan is to go to Kauai. So we are flying Southwest. We have 2 companion passes. So we will only have to use points for 4 of the tickets. And after 4 nights in Kauai, we are taking a flight on Southwest again from Kauai to Maui. And then we were going to stay 3 nights at the Hyatt Regency. So we haven't stayed at the Hyatt Regency before. We obviously know we love the area because it's right next to the Hyatt Residence Club. So I'm really excited to stay there. I have heard really good things about how welcoming they are to families, and they also have a really nice club lounge there. So I'm like Jess, I'm hoping between the 2 properties, we won't have to spend too much money on food. I will have Globalist by then as well. So I'm super excited. This was a main reason why I was trying to get Hyatt Globalist this year, is so I could enjoy those elite benefits for these really big trips. So the other hack that I have though is like I said, my parents are coming with us and they have their room. And then I booked my room for my family, but we have 6 of us. So that's too many people to fit in that little room. So my mom so graciously has said, and you don't have to book 2 rooms. We can just have a couple of your kids stay here. Or even if they stay in my room, we can just say, put them on her reservation. So we would didn't have to spend points for 2 rooms. So to make it a little more fair though, because that is a sacrifice to be like, oh, I'm going to have some little boys sharing a room. When we go to Maui, I booked my mom, her 3 nights there using my points. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us. So she gets to spend less points for a longer trip and I get to spend less points because I don't have to book 2 rooms for 7 nights. So.
And it is a win-win because we love our little boys. And so they usually wake up and come to our room anyway if we have our own room and leave it late at night too. So
it's true. They spend all their time in their room anyway.
Yeah. I love the last trip that we went on to Mexico, and Alex asked one of her sons if they wanted to go back, and he goes, yeah, if grandma and grandpa come too. So that was great. So we're excited.
We have decided my parents come with us on all of our big family trips like that because we all just have more fun. The kids have so much fun. Like my dad is their playmate the whole time. My mom helps watch the baby when he has to go up for his nap. And yeah, it's just a great way to do it. So I highly recommend get your parents involved and bring them on a trip with you so you have some babysitters and you don't have to pay as much for your room and your kids will love it.
Yep, that's a great travel hack. Keep doing it, Alex.
Yep.
And I'm just going to very quickly close just by, wrapping up with my trip that I just took. And that was, like I said before, it was my sister and I to Maui, staying at the Wailea Beach Resort. We used about 300,000 points. The nice thing about it is that if you stay 5 nights, that 5th night, and you book on an award redemption, that 5th night is free. So we only really paid for 4 nights.
And that's an important thing that we should have mentioned with Marriott too. When you book 4 nights, you get the 5th night free.
Yeah, it's really, really a nice deal. So when we went to the Wailea Beach Resort, we used about $50K a night, I believe it was. So it was about a total that would, for 4 nights, would be 200,000 points. And with that, we stayed 5 nights, and we stayed 5 nights because the 5th night is free on an award redemption. So that was a real reasonable redemption. It's not a redemption. It's not going to be that cheap here on out, but it was a great redemption. And we flew Turkish Airlines. So that was 30K Turkish miles. So that was a really good deal. 200,000 in Marriott points and the 30K for Turkish. I need to figure out how much that would have cost, but I think that was really a great redemption.
Mom, I did the very similar trip as you, and it was just over $6,000, maybe close to 7. So yeah, because I did 5 nights there as well.
The one thing that I would like to mention is that with Marriott, you do have to pay your resort fees, and you do have to pay for parking. So we paid probably about $80 a day for that. That's one of the things that's really nice when you stay at Hyatt, is that they don't charge that. And Hilton also charged it. So do expect that on top of your points, you do have to pay some resort fees and some parking unless you're staying at a Hyatt.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to say quickly too about Hyatt is that's what we would recommend you do if you're just starting out. One, because they're great hotels, but two, you won't pay those resort fees. And also the nightly rate is just so much cheaper. You can stay at a really great place for 25,000 points a night in Hawaii, and a comparable Marriott or Hilton is going to run you 70 to even up to 100,000 points a night. So your points will go so much further if you're using Chase Hilton Rewards, for example, for a Hyatt stay. So that's how we would do it as beginners, just getting started. Or even seasoned veterans like us, because that's what we're doing.
That's how I'm planning to do it forever. So...
Yeah. So that's it for this episode. We hope that you guys are feeling excited and feeling like this is possible for you. We have tons of resources on our blog. If you want to learn more about visiting Hawaii, we'll put a link in the show notes so you can just click that button and go see all the resources we have about Hawaii. And we will catch you next time.
Thanks so much for listening to the Travel Hacking Mom Show. Make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button from wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Want to start jet setting even faster? Follow the links in the show notes to learn about everything we discussed in today's episode. And to stay connected and follow along, follow us on Instagram at Travel Hacking Mom. We can't wait to see where in the world points and miles take you.